be aware of your environment. Yes, be aware of your environment, know what is happening, report on time, don't argue with anybody, because those are the little things that, you know, that are going to overwhelm police. Again, I know they're going to have the armies, but away from polling centers, far away. But before the information gets to them. And again, I don't know whether most of these policemen are going to have radio, in case they have any issue, to quickly,
one of the panelists was asking about walkie-talkie.
Yeah, walkie-talkie. I don't know whether they're going to have all those kind of things. But hey, the truth is that they say they're ready.
Okay, Oluwaseyi, the fact that, yeah, about 400,000 policemen, but they're going to be working with the civil defense and all the other
immigration, customs, prisons, all the security services.
Do you think because before now there's in that issue of interagency relations, do you think that might come into play here?
Okay, speaking from experience, I've been part of elections. I've been out there both as polling officers before and as security officers on the field, and I've had the opportunity of actually coordinating election in Nigeria in 2007 in Anambra State. I was a security liaison officer to INEC, so I can speak from experience that from previous election the synergy had been superb. It's not about rivalry. The law is specific about who is in charge. It is the Nigerian police. So all other agencies are expected to provide support services to the Nigerian police to ensure that we have security. So one thing is for you to say we are ready. But another thing is that will our readiness brings about the desired security that we want.
I was about to say that because even though you say the synergy has been there, it hasn't stopped some of the incidences that
yeah, because a lot has to do with we as people, our desperation at winning elections in Nigeria. You see, one thing is for you to put measures in place. Another thing is for people to try to circumvent measures that have been put in place. You see, violence in election is not limited to what happens at the polling booth. You see elections being, the result being, taken out of the polling booth, and the polling officers and the agents are trying to escort the result, and people, ambush them on the way, attack them on the way, or they even succeed in getting to the collation center, and you see the collation center has been attacked, or after the election result had been announced. Remember, the election had not ended. You see, you still need to manage the fallout of the election result. And mind you, people start getting the feel of where the direction the result will be going right from the time that results start emanating from polling units. There are people in different political parties that are responsible to be receiving these results and then be collating them. So at the point when some desperate politicians begin to realize that this result might not be in their favor, they may want to do something. And at times, it is even the returning officer that are the one that are instigating violence.
Before I let you continue, I can see the INEC chairman there making his way to the podium. Let's listen into today's briefing and see what he has to say about tomorrow. Let's listen to him. Indeed, he hasn't started talking at the moment, but
he's still. Please, let's keep the visual on so that we can follow what's happening there, because this has been customary for Professor Mahmood Yakubu. Every time he comes for this briefing, he makes a special effort to greet the heads of the electoral bodies and the observer bodies that come to these briefings, because every day they are there, and I think today is good. No exception, of course.
Lots of people are talking about his comportment as well at these briefings, and he's been particular to answer every question and ensure that he answers it in a way that you're not left wondering, did he really answer my question? As well?
Someone did make mention of the fact that it seems as if they have an assembly line somewhere from where they pluck them, because in many ways he reminds people of Professor Tahiru Jega in the calm,
the composure,
easygoing, even when you would have thought that he could have been provoked and all of that, he seemed to have maintained his. And then the thing about answering every question is particular. Sometimes you have 10 questions in a row, followed by another 9 questions, including some that had been previously answered, but asked in a different way.
What do you expect? The man's a teacher.
He's a professor. and even the way he comes to you, he knows the name of the journalist, and he repeats the question exactly as
the way as you asked it, so that there's no question of him doctoring it in any way. One just hopes that this 1 week delay. I was reading something in one of the newspapers that he would be forgiven for postponing this election if come tomorrow people can see that the result is that we have a fair, free, credible,
transparent.
That's it. It's not that there will be no errors anywhere, but
I think somebody even added another word, unadulterated.
Yes.
I thought that one. I said free, fair, credible, transparent, unadulterated.
Yes.
But again, it will still boil down to the people. You know, when Richard started talking about the citizens carrying on security, what is like watching from a safe distance, but ensuring that you guard what. How do you put it? Guard
your vote. Make sure your vote counts.
No matter how much security can be deployed.
Yeah.
I mean, if we take it, for example, that there are 5 security men at every polling booth.
Yeah.
That will still, you're still talking about 600,000 people.
Yeah.
But 5 people against 500.
I mean, when there's intention to create, problem, it's difficult.
But it's the people, essentially.
But looking at it again, that this thing is more technical now, we're using technology-based election. Do you think that when people are thinking about 80 years ago, when you think that if you snatch a ballot box and that polling booth will not, the result is kind of will be over. Which language do I use now? The cancelled. Now, if for example you come to my booth and you take my my result sheet or whatever, is there no way they've
I think I'm going to have to put you on pause so that we go to that press briefing, which I think is about to start now. Well, let's listen in, and then of course we'll take our conversation and talking points.
Okay, well, we'll take anticipated,
yes, because I see he's sitting. I see that he's sat down, and usually, as we'll be listening to this from Monday, that is usually preceded by an introduction. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Perhaps you can finish your point.
So what I'm saying, with the issue of security again is that it's no way from the polling booth we can transmit, even though a ballot has been snatched after the whole thing has been done. Number one, the election will be cancelled and we can redo it. So there's no need to get worried that you snatch a boss. You understand? And again, I'm just thinking about security situation around all this, around that people are thinking that, okay, issue of boss snatching, issue of no boss snatching. To me, based on what INEC is doing right now, it's easy to say, okay, if you take the boss, you just take an empty boss, because everything has been documented and you're just taking empty paper.
Well, Professor Mahmoud, he talked about it. He talked about the fact that, an election will have to be redone the next day. And of course, the smart card reader will have to be reconfigured. But I think it's the whole logistics around having that redone.
It's even much more complicated than that. You see, it all depends on what do they want to achieve. Is it to force the election to the next day? If that is the objective, they have achieved it.
Okay, that's
now, you see, most times when they snatch this ballot, it is before the conclusion of the election. So if the ballot had not been counted, there is no way you can determine who wins. So what the card readers will only do is to probably tell you that, okay, this total number of people that have been accredited so far. And if you have not reached the end of the election, it means that you have to start the election all over again.
So with all that entails.
Exactly. So the most important thing is for us to get to a level in this country where people will be ready to go to ballots with the hope that let the will of the people prevail. Yeah. So, and it requires a lot of education. And we need to start building up a new generations of Nigeria that will grow up to that level. Because trust me, we grew up and experiencing a situation that has already programmed our head towards a particular direction. I don't see that happening to this our own generation, but we can build a new Nigerian generation that will grow up to appreciate the value of a freedom of selection, of choice of the people of this country. From the experience, I've seen what I saw in Anambra. I've seen a situation whereby, people deliberately, hijacked the electoral process and then went to the hotel and write results. What they'll do is they're going to damn you and say, you know what, let's meet in the courts. Okay. As long as the result has been announced, the only thing you can do is for you to go to the tribunal. So they'll wait for you in tribunal. And, from what we've experienced in this country, at times it's about who can pay, or who has the power, either the political power or the financial power to determine to get the right kind of verdict. So we've got into a level in this country where some people are ready to say, you know what, I don't know what it takes. Just give me the results. The rest, I'll take care of it at the
Okay, Sheyi,
so,
what of education? We are talking about generation right now, and we're talking about children. Our children are technology-based right now. And in other country, election is done through technology, through votes, through through your phone, wherever you are. No, and we can't. No. I know. We're talking about children. We're talking about taking it from where we are. Hold on, Sheyi, hold on. No, we're talking about from our own generation. We are used to all this, but we're talking about our children who are technically based, who are, my 6-year-old daughter with a phone, you can do everything. So why can't we?
Even in the US, they don't do that. In the US, they still use paper.
Yes, but at the same
balloting. You see, what they do is what they do, which we can get to that level, is that election does not necessarily have to be done on the election
day. So I said
people vote a month before. They post their,
Okay, I think let's listen in to Professor Mahmood. I think he's about to start off.
Yes, yeah. Let's go and listen in to this process.
General of Police, and he has graciously accepted to join us here so that if there are any issues, questions dealing with security or security preparedness for the elections, apart from the operational issues, we'll also deal with security issues, which is of great concern to everyone involved in this process. So he's already on his way, and in a few minutes, as soon as he gets in here, we will start. Apologies, please. Thank you.
We're waiting for someone or something, which was what Oluwole Osazeuzi was explaining to the assembled throng there, that they're waiting for someone or some information, and when that information is available, then the briefing can start. But gentlemen, two of you are talking about technology and the fact that our own generation